TSA has announced a new $45 fee for travelers within the U.S. who don't have a real ID. What are the details? Hi, I'm Morgan, and this is a travel update. Travelers who are traveling domestically within the United States who come to the airport without a real ID will now have the option to pay a $45 non-refundable fee to use the TSA Confirm ID 10-day travel pass. The reason I stated this is non-refundable is because paying that $45 fee at the airport does not guarantee that you will pass the additional screening for the ID that you have to be able to travel. TSA is urging people who do not have a real ID or an acceptable form of identification to pay this fee ahead of time to ensure that they are able to pass the TSA Confirm ID check prior to getting to the airport. There are other forms of ID that you can use. So there's the real ID, the state-issued enhanced driver's license or enhanced ID, a passport, passport card, DHS trusted traveler cards, DOD ID, permanent residence card, border crossing card. TSA's website has a full list of acceptable IDs. Anyone who is traveling and shows up to the airport without an acceptable ID, including those who present a non-real ID compliant state driver's license or ID, will be referred to the optional TSA Confirm ID process for identity verification upon TSA check-in and prior to entering the security line. This also states that the process will differ airport to airport, and I would assume as a traveler that certain airports may be a little more difficult or have longer processing time. It also says that TSA is working with private industry to proactively offer online payment options prior to arrival at the airport. So if you are one of those people who does not have a real ID or a passport or another form of acceptable ID, and you are traveling, you don't have time to go get a real ID prior to travel, I would suggest that you go online and do that ahead of time. There's also a website dedicated to real ID to give people instructions on how to obtain one by state. And it gives an option at the bottom of this site to select your state, and it'll tell you where to go to get a real ID. Obtaining a real ID requires forms of identification as well, and if you don't have a Social Security card, but you have a Social Security number, you can still use a W-2 form, SSA 1099 form, or these other forms of verification of Social Security number to obtain a real ID. And if you want to know whether your identification from your state is a real ID, it will have one of these real ID compliant stickers somewhere on the card. TSA also does not require that children under 18 provide identification when traveling within the United States. And these are only used for travel domestically within the United States. You cannot use a real ID to get into Canada or Mexico. And because it is Giving Tuesday, I am sharing something aviation related that people can use to give their Giving Tuesday dollars to. This is a tax-deductible U.S. nonprofit. It's called the Foundation for Aviation Safety. So they're an aviation safety watchdog. From the main page, which is foundationforaviationsafety.org, you just click donate. It takes you to their show your support page. You can choose a predetermined amount or set a custom amount. And this is a registered nonprofit, so they are tax deductible, any amount that you make. So if you have a little bit of money that you need to offload to a registered nonprofit before tax time, this would be a good one. If anyone has any guidance that is state specific for obtaining a real ID, please put that in the comments. I know that one of my daughters, when she went to get a new ID, they offered for her to upgrade that to a real ID because she had all of her forms of identification with her. And I believe in Arizona, it was $25 to get it as a real ID versus a regular driver's license. Follow my page if you would like to stay up to date on aviation safety alerts and travel tips.